Gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
You're talking to two guys from Hialeah and West Kendall and one with a Raleigh Fingers mustache, so I think you're good.
Ricky Vaughn style, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Who flips their bat like that in a single?
I'm here for
A guy that's hitting 200, bro.
Listen, you paid $5 for your ticket, even if you're sitting behind home plate.
Gets paid the big bucks. He knows a little better than I do.
And he's very handsome.
So handsome.
super handsome. Super
Your expectations as a Marlins fan should have changed by now.
all the feels, man. Like, I love Pablito so much.
Lineup doesn't take for your ball.
It depends on what you give up,
I
man.
don't like that question, Danny.
I don't.
Why would you let me see it if I can't have it? Like, I feel like the Marlins.
Sure.
Starting staff has looked so much better.
All three of them.
I'm looking forward to this one, guys. I believe.
The Marlins have the worst run differential in the National League.
Oh man, now this was the wrong choice, but
I am ready to get hurt again.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 39 of the Battered Marlins Fans Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, I have two other Battered fans. I'll start from my left to your right. Callie, how are you doing, sir?
I'm in a state of depression. Everything sucks. Happiness is a lie. I'm wearing Pensacola Blue Wahoo's hat for two reasons. One, the Miami Marlins are playing like a fucking minor league team right now. And two, shout out to my boy, Renny Tolentino. He is now an assistant pitching coach with the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. I've worked with him for several years. One of the better pitching minds I know. He's coached in college, coached high school, coached summer leagues, and now he's getting a shot with the pros. So shout out my boy, Renny Black, MV pitchers. Good for you, buddy.
So some good news sprinkled in there on
I
top
guess.
that horrible record right under Brenton. Brenton, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great. I'm in Disney, so I'm doing fine. Except being constantly laughed at for my Marlins hat. I've been ridiculed by Pirates fans, which I didn't even know there were any. Saw another Marlins fan today. We made eye contact. I said, "We winning today?" And he goes, "Fuck no." So, living the dream.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be a last week we were supposed to go on here for our season preview show, but a couple things came up, unfortunately. So we weren't able to do it. So we thought, okay, we'll do it next week. It'll still be just as fun. I regret not just pushing through somehow and doing it last week, because this has turned into what I was going to be optimistic Marlins season preview to just another disaster. Like, I don't even know. Let's just see where this goes, because I was looking forward to this episode so much all off season, and man, this is as literally the worst start in franchise history. And the Marlins have quite the history of bad. To have the worst start in franchise history, that says a lot. But I guess, where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start where you thought what your predictions were going to be before the season started, or do you want to go over the shit week that we had last week?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. I mean, you know what? Okay, I'll go out there and I'll say it. Before the season started, I was optimistic. I thought that they would be in the low 80s and they might fight for a wild card spot. That was going to be my prediction. Now, were you guys on board with that? Okay, Brenton was on there also.
I thought we would. I don't know. I thought we were a shot for that second wild card spot. I didn't think it was guaranteed. I figured we would have to fight for it, especially with the injuries to the rotation to start the season. Like, we knew it was going to be a rough April. I don't think anybody knew it was going to be this bad. But yeah, my outlook's totally changed, especially with the news we got today.
100%. Callie, where were you at mentally going into what was going to be our season preview episode?
I don't remember who it was on Marlins Twitter. I think it was Takes. It was Takes that he did like what do you expect? I think I said 78 wins. Okay. I did think we were gonna take a bit of a step back, especially with the injuries to start off in the bullpen. I feel like we're definitely gonna drop a couple that would cost us down the stretch. I think, like everybody, no one expected us to be this bad. And the thing is, it's really just one side of the ball that's been especially terrible, right? Like the bats have been okay. Like they've put up runs. They put up 5 today. You know,
I'd say the defense has been pretty horrible too.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, 5 runs wins you a game. But the pitching, dude, has been, and not just the starters, whatever. We knew that was going to, you know, especially guys like Ryan Weathers being trotted out there, and you know, even AJ Puck experimenting on the mound. I think all of us were a bit skeptical, right? But the bullpen has been just garbage, just hot, smoking, smelly trash, like so bad. So it's discouraging. It's really hard to be happy about anything right now. I think there are positives to look at, but we'll get into that in a bit, I'm sure.
All right. Well, the Marlins have scored almost, I think it's 3.80 something off the top of my head, almost 4 runs a game, which is decent if you have good pitching. Decent. Not great, but decent. Definitely better than going 0-8. But they have surrendered 36. They've surrendered almost 6 runs a game. So that's not what we expected. I thought that this team would be 500, maybe a little over 500, based on the pitching. That's supposed to be the strength of this team. The question mark was always the hitting. The hitting, although it hasn't been above average, it's been average, maybe slightly above average, but average. Average should give you an average record. You should be 3-5, 4-4. 0-8 is just ridiculous. It's unacceptable, is what it is. It's absolutely unacceptable. And I'm really disappointed with this team overall. We were upset that they didn't make many moves, but even with that, I think most of us were still cautiously optimistic that we could still pull off a 500 record. And this just blows. And I don't know, was it Cali? It might have been Cali or somebody else on Twitter that suggested that this might have been Ben Dix's hope all along.
It was me.
He kind of wanted to. Oh, it was you. Okay,
100% Cali.
I thought it might be. So that this might have been his thing all along. Maybe he wanted to kind of just do just enough where he knew that this wouldn't be successful, so he would have an excuse to blow it up. And I you know what, Cali, you said it on Twitter not too long ago. Just blow it up already. You think that that's where this is going?
Yeah, I mean, I think if this trend continues into May, we'll see that. I don't know if you guys remember the year that we signed like Jose Reyes, Mark Buehrle, all those guys.
Oh yeah,
the team was blown up in May.
Wasn't that the first year of the
first year of the stadium?
Marlins Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first year of Marlins Park. By mid-May, the team was dismantled. I think if the trend continues, which we've officially lost Yuri for the year. We have to see how Eddie bounces back. How long it's going to take for him to get back into the rotation. But
he's been doing all right in his rehab starts.
First
rehab start.
Yeah, a little wild, but that's the Eddie brand. We expect that. But Luzardo's been okay. He's been fine. Meyer didn't pitch too bad the other night, but again, no run support. I think he only gave up 2 runs to do 5 or something like that.
And then as soon as he left the game, he gave up the lead. It was insane.
But yeah, I mean,
Rogers has been all right as well.
Rogers has been okay. He had one pretty tough outing, and then he settled in with the second one. But Puck has been terrible. Weathers was okay. Garrett. We don't know when we're going to see that either. So it's been kind of a disaster. Sixto's been bad too, unfortunately. But
hey, don't talk shit about Sixto. Spazzy's not here to defend his boy.
Now when Spazzy's not here to defend him, right?
Yeah.
But
Spazzy doesn't want to hear this shit. The man just wants to enjoy a Presidente after work. I don't understand what the problem is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the bullpen, and now it feels like it's like a revolving door. We're just burning options. Like we had Cronin, who did pretty well the first series, immediately sent down for Kent Emmanuel, whatever the fuck his name was, and he got DFA'd.
We just DFA'd him today.
Then we brought up Vlad Gutierrez, who had one outing, DFA'd again. There's just this merry-go-round with like mediocre pitchers that we're bringing up and kind of plugging in, and it's bad. So my thought is like, if this is the plan, if this is really what Bendix wants, bro, start taking calls. Let's just start doing this shit, because I don't, just to fucking prolong this till July is just gonna be, like raking over coals. Like, Berger's hitting well. Arise has value. Luzardo has value. Those are the three guys off the top of my head that I think you can get a pretty nice return right away for.
I think you can probably still get something for Tanner Scott.
Yeah.
Nardi, I think, has trade value. I think you're looking at guys even a little bit further down. Bell, Berger, those two definitely have some value.
Bell has like deadline move written all over him.
Oh yeah.
He's a guy that he picked up.
Same with Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
If he keeps playing the way he's doing, because he's doing really well. Gone.
Guys that don't have an option for next year or are going to be free agents after this year, I'm 100% convinced are going to be gone by the deadline.
Yeah,
100%.
See that. So, Jake Berger is batting 355 early in the season, but his bat has been the liveliest out of everybody. Tim Anderson, like Bratton was saying, is playing well. Like you said, the bats aren't necessarily playing poorly. Luis Ariz isn't playing like himself, but I mean, he'll come around. I'm with Cali. I think it's time to blow it up, because if this is, I know that the baseball season's a long season, but I feel like an 0-8 record is such a large hole to climb out of. And I know that there's still 154 games to go. No, 154 games to go. But still, man, 0-8, that's rough. That's rough. And the fact that you're so injured on top of that, I don't see any hope here.
We haven't played any world beaters. We play the Pirates. We play the Pirates, who look better than I think a lot of people thought they would. Like they're it's a solid team. They might compete for the division, likely a wild card team. We played the A's, who couldn't buy a fucking hit against the Orioles. The Angels, sorry, who couldn't buy a fucking hit against the Orioles.
They put 10 up on us yesterday.
And then we play the Cardinals, who are kind of like a middle of the road team. Nothing special, and we blew a fucking lead today. And we
look good until the bullpen.
Yankees, yeah, after this we go to fucking New York. That's a fucking shoebox. That's not gonna do our pitching any fucking help. And then we come home to the Braves. So it's not getting any fucking better anytime soon.
Nope.
Is there any chance? Oh, let's have some fun. How long does this losing streak go? I think they can beat the Cardinals.
I think
they can beat the Cardinals. Okay.
Yeah, I can see us taking one from the Cardinals, but I think we get swept by the Yankees. And John Birdie laughs the whole time. It's rightfully so.
How happy is John Birdie that he got out of here right before this shit started?
So the Yankees team that's playing pretty well.
Yeah.
They're playing great.
Start the season.
Great.
And he's going to see significant time there until what's-his-face comes back. Yeah.
The Mayhew got injured, yep.
But now with the Marlins, with the hitters, like, it's not the hitting hasn't been bad. I have FanGraphs open right now. Just a couple things to point out. Jazz has a walk rate of 23.3%, which is very good. He's walking a lot. His K rate is also 26%, so half of his at-bats are either a walk or a strikeout. And his batting average isn't great, but his slug is, one of the better ones on the team. His slug is 304, so he's putting the ball in play, as in he's hitting the ball hard. On base percentage, he's second in the team in 333.
Yep.
He's one of the few people on the team that have a positive WAR. It's only the beginning of the season, so everyone's like 0.1 or 0.2 right now. But he's not. Despite the ball's not dropping, he's not swinging it poorly. Tim Anderson's batting average with balls in play is 375, which is great. Considering his average is 231. Berger is hitting 310. His batting average of ball in play is a little lower than TA's. He's at 346, but he's hitting the ball hard. And then we have Avi Garcia, who's a fucking disaster. But
well, and I mean, we should also call out, like, Arise has been a disaster so far this season.
Arise has been usually terrible.
The only thing that really concerns me about Arise is his strikeout rate. He's striking out like, I feel like it's more in these 8 games than he did all of last season.
Well, it
Because
looks
we
that way.
talked about it last year.
Of the guys who played a bit, he has one of the lowest strikeout percentages.
Yeah.
But he's hitting 185. He's putting the ball in play, but he's just not getting hits, which is unfortunately kind of,
It'll come. It'll come eventually.
I'm not worried about a rise, but I mean the hitting hasn't been terrible. Like it's nothing to like write home about, but like, our guy, like the guys aren't doing too bad. Like, yeah, like we knew the power numbers weren't going to be there, right? Like that wasn't a surprise. We knew the power numbers were not going to be available. But we're putting the ball, the guys aren't striking out a ton. They're putting the ball in play and stuff like that. But defensively, we have not been good. And the pitching has been just fucking terrible.
As usual, we never get any production from our catchers. Our catchers have a combined 1 hit all season so far.
Yeah.
Well, you've got that. Then you've got, DLC's been a disaster this year. And that's who you want to put as your DH. I mean, Sanchez has actually done decent against the couple lefties he's faced. And then there's, Avi, who that 1 home run is going to buy him another, I don't know, 6 months we think on the contract before anything happens.
He'll finish out his contract here. But
he's staying.
Our bullpen has an ERA of 6.14. And not that our starting pitchers are much better in terms of ERA. It's a 5.93, but that's grossly inflated by AJ Puck, who's at a 9. We have Ryan Weathers, who's at a 6.75. Trevor Rogers had that one really bad outing, had a better outing. He's at 7.20. But Myers at a 3.6, and Luzardo's at a 4.35, which is fine. But, yeah, the pitching has been just fucking abysmal.
I have a fun stat for you.
I'm afraid.
The Miami Marlins are the first team to make the playoffs and then follow that up with an 0-8 start to a season.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to be the first team to do something these days, especially considering the game's been around for 150 years. But we found a way. We found a way to be the first to do something.
Listen, I think we need to go after the Orioles record. What were the Orioles? 0-18 to start the season?
Or
0-22.
121.
Right. They won the 22nd game. So I think we need to go lose all 23, maybe even 24, and just go for win 25.
What year was that?
1992, I think?
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was the 80s, but yeah, maybe.
I'll look it up real quick.
Well, regardless,
fake Orioles fan right there.
Things are not looking up, especially look, they have to get one against
1988. It was 1988.
88. So hypothetically, let's say they get one against the Cardinals. Then they got 6 coming up against the Yankees and the Braves. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get swept both those series, which would put them at 1-15. That's unacceptable. Now, positives. $1 tickets will be back. You can sit behind the
home plate with
behind
LMF.
Home plate. You can sit back there for $1 because there's going to be nobody at the stadium. I mean, they'll probably get rid of a lot of the food options because you can't pay those workers since nobody's there to buy stuff. But there's a couple positives here. Now, on the field, Kali, did you see any positives over the last week?
The hitting isn't terrible. Like you said, it's average, above average. Yeah. Like, Berger's been fantastic. Berger's been really, really good. I mean,
it's like today. Like we put up 5 runs.
Yeah, we went back.
That should win you a game.
Jazz defensively has been very good. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
How were you feeling? Okay, let me tell you how stupid I was. I went to opening day. And let me talk about opening day real quick because I forgot that we didn't even mention it. Opening day was really cool because it was packed, but the Marlins weren't ready for it. Went to get croquetas, they were sold out of croquetas. Went to Billy the Marlins little restaurant thing to get my kids a pizza, they were out of pizza. So obviously they were ill prepared for the amount of people that showed up. With that said, it was really cool to see the ballpark that packed. The Marlins went.
You'll never see it again.
No, definitely not now. definitely not now. The game started. We put up, was it 4 runs? I can't remember right now off the top of my head now. Because I know we put up 4 runs to start against the Angels. One of these games also in blue is that way. But we started hot, and I thought to myself, this team is going to be as good as I thought. They might get 83, 84 wins. Man, that was rough. We didn't score after the second or third inning. We didn't score anymore. It like the wheels fell off, and then they haven't come back on since then. But it was a nice start to the season, those first couple innings. Was there any point where you thought during that first game, oh, this team better than I thought?
I mean, we went into extras. I thought, okay, like, you know, like it was a good moment to like maybe turn the tide, because especially with a new extra innings rule with the guy starting on second, it's like the home team has a massive advantage.
100%.
But
and Cronin got out of a couple jams.
Yeah, and I thought Cronin pitched really well.
So did I. That was going to be a positive.
And we immediately DFA him after that. So, yeah. But since that first game, like there have been some moments like we put up a few runs. I thought, okay, this is it, and then you know the bullpen just fucking lets the door open, and it's a floodgate. You know, it's
look. On Monday, they went 4. They scored 4 in the first inning against the Angels. And I remember because I was talking to an Angels fan. I was doing another podcast with somebody from LA, Angels fan, as it was happening. I was like, So, you know, I had my haha moment, like, you thought 0-4, you're going to smack us up. Here we go, put 4 in your face. And then that didn't last very long, and I looked like an idiot. So we lost 7-4 in that game. It's just been a shit show. At Brenton, at what point did you throw in the towel during this week?
Probably after the sweep from the Pirates. I think that's when I was like, fuck it, we're bad. Like you in the Pirates game when we scored those 4 runs, I was like, man, we're back. We're back. Baseball's back. I can't believe it. We get to watch it. And, you know, I had just gotten off a flight from New York, and like I'm watching it on my phone and listening to the radio, and I was like, man, we're back. We got this. And then it just went to shit so fast. And now, like, I know we're only 0-8, but I feel like we're 0-32. And I feel like the last week has aged me, like, as a fan, because you guys saw my progression. I'm in Disney, and I'm texting you guys like, I need to find a new team. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And then I pitched, let's do the Battered AL East podcast. I'll pick the Red Sox. Callie's already got the Orioles. We'll throw Spazzy the Blue Jays, and Danny, original Yankee fan. Like, let's do this shit. Let's roll it back and fuck Tampa Bay. And then, you know, I was like, oh, you know, maybe we know what we're doing. And then I've even lost. I've lost confidence in the front office altogether at this point as well. Because, like, how do you DFA your number 9 ranked prospect a week into the season, Jacob Amaya, and now we won't get anything for him? Like, how is it like?
I know Cronin isn't a big name, but that one had me perplexed because I thought he played well the 2 times that he came out. I was like, oh, this kid's gonna be a good arm out of the bullpen. Nope. And that had me so. I was like, how is this happening?
We replace him with guys who haven't played in the majors in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's stupid. And I lost all hope when we lost that 4-0 lead against the Angels. I know I was telling you that I felt stupid because I was talking to an Angels fan. But last year we started 1-4. And I knew that going into that game. I was like, well, I know we started 0-4, but we win today and we had a 4-0 lead. I was like, 1-4, technically same spot. No matter how you get there, after 5 games, you're 1-4. I was like, I still have hope. But when we gave up that 4-0 lead, lost that, and ended up losing the next 2 games, that's it. I was done. I was like, this season's over. And it sucks to say literally a week in, but that's how I feel. I feel like the season's over already.
Yeah, we're not making the playoffs. Anybody who's even Peter Pratt, the most optimistic Marlins fan out there, threw up the white flag today. He threw up the white flag, and that was it. You know, like, it's over. Like, We're not gonna make the playoffs. Like, I'm really glad I dragged my feet on pulling the trigger on my Josh Chisholm jersey because his ass ain't gonna be here by the deadline.
Let's talk about
You
your boy
know.
Josh Chisholm, Mister. I'll go
Oh,
to war
God.
for him.
We
So,
listen. I
do you
still
think?
would, by the way. I still would go to war for him.
I
I
will
still
tell you.
would.
I wish I would have gone to that game where they were giving that Josh Chisholm jersey. I thought that was a really cool looking jersey.
Yeah,
The one
always
Yeah.
cool.
that was really cool. I wish they did it on Easter, man. I'm not gonna go out there on Easter.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool jersey. I'm sad I missed out on that. But with that being said, the last time we were on here, we talked about Jazz for a solid hour. So happy that he's happy with his teammates and the way the locker room is vibing, because obviously it's paying off. The locker room is happy. They're all out there having fun. It's showing, and let's
It's
ride
showing
that
with the
Jazz.
bats, man. I think Jazz just needs to spend a little time on this pitcher side. Hang out in the bullpen, get the vibes over there.
Do you think if our arms were healthy, we would be 0-8 right now?
No.
No,
So would you
not
be
a
killing the
chance.
front office then? Because then is that really on the front office since it's injuries?
I'm killing the front office for a week into the season. Jacob Amaya, your number 9 ranked prospect.
Fair.
Granted, we have a shitty system, but
Fair.
that's a guy who probably is going to play at some point in the majors. Probably not a starter, but he's definitely a role player. You trade away Birdie, like you know these things are happening, and you let a prospect get DFA'd. Don't put him on the big league roster, and he's safe. And you're going to make these moves, so it screams of short-sightedness. And then we're bringing these guys into the organization who haven't pitched in the majors in 3 or 4 years. And now we're going to let them pitch, and then we're DFAing Cronin. Like, it just screams of dysfunction. Like, it's just, that's what concerns me about the front office, not so much where we are. Because if we weren't making these moves, but we were like, okay, like, let's give these bullpen guys, let's give them a chance. Let's give them another couple outings. Let's see if they settle in and things like that. Like, let's see what's going on. Like, with our 4 best starters out, like, I didn't expect us to, like I said, I thought our April was going to be rough. 0-8, didn't think so. I would think if we had a healthy rotation, we'd probably be 4-4. We might even be a little bit better than that. If you're talking, if you're going to talk Sandy, then you're talking better than that. But if you're talking Brax healthy, Cabrera healthy, Yuri healthy, those 3 alone, that probably gets you at least 4 or 5 wins at this point.
Especially against the Angels and the Pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my fingers pointed to the front office too, just because there was clear interest to sign productive players to this team, right? Like, one of the ones in the offseason that I think he would have been a huge difference maker here is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who's, you can plug in the outfield, you can play him at third, he can kind of be a super utility role, probably start in a lot of those positions for this team. JD Martinez was a guy that clearly wanted to come here.
Mm-hmm.
You let the ball drop on that one. You did nothing to address the starting pitching. Zero to address the starting pitch. You knew you were going into the season without, without you already knew Sandy and Yuri off the top, right? Those weren't a surprise. You knew Eddie you're gonna have to work him back in. And then we saw Garrett.
Well, Brax didn't. He didn't play at all in spring training, really.
Yeah.
So
you did,
like, you knew.
You decided to roll the dice with guys like, Max Meyer, who hasn't pitched in a year and a half. Which, again, credit to him, he's done okay. He's far from the problem. AJ Puck, you wanted to roll the dice on him as a starting pitcher, and then Ryan Weathers, who's been dog shit for the entirety of his career, so I don't know why he keeps getting fucking chances. But,
and Trev, who hasn't pitched since April.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, and then you have a bullpen that is just this mishmash of fucking nobodies. It's a mishmash of fucking nobodies. Guys that came back, you have Tanner Scott, Nardi, who else? It's just
Bender.
Bender.
Anthony Bender's back from injury.
Yeah, and then you're plugging with a guy like Birch Smith, who's fine, like nothing special. It's just a bunch of like plugins that are just probably really cheap. It's very clear what the intention is now, right? The intention is to not have a big payroll. The intent, and you know what? If that's your intention, fine. But and this is even beyond like the player player acquisition, and like don't sell this idea of like, oh, we're gonna be competitive, we're gonna try and win, when that's clearly not the objective of the front office or the ownership right now.
Yeah.
That is far from, because if your objective to win, Avi Garcia would not be on this roster.
100%.
Right? If your objective was to win, your two catching options aren't fucking Christian Betancourt and Nick Fortes. You know, if your objective is to win, you would have found at least a guy that you can sign, that you can maybe keep around in the starting rotation for the season. You know, keep puck in the pen or whatever, even when everyone's healthy, and you know, bolster up the bullpen a little bit. They have made zero. We made one fucking free agent signing. We made one, and then we made this trade for this Emmanuel Rivera guy who's been okay, but that's not a game changer, dude. Like, it's very clear that the ownership is pinching pennies right now, and that's why it's like, and that's why I was saying on Twitter today, like, if the intention is to be so bad that you can justify a fire sale, just fucking do the fire sale. Just stop taking the balls, stop playing the fucking games. Bro, trade off Bell, trade off Berger, trade off Arise, trade off Jazz, trade off whoever the fuck else you want to trade off. Load us up with prospects. We'll be a quadruple A team this season, and we'll fucking get our dicks pushed in for a while. And then, you know what? Maybe if they can look at me in the face and say, guys, it's going to suck right now, but you know what? Our goal is for in 2, 3, 4 years from now, we're going to be a really competitive baseball team. Here is the plan. This is what we want to do. I can live with that. I'm a fucking Marlins fan, dude. I've seen this fucking movie before. Like, just tell me, like, hey, guys, we have no intention of winning. We're going to sell off these guys. We're going to bring in a bunch of prospects. Like, our goal is to revitalize the farm system and to start building from within and implement a full-blown raise model. Great. Fantastic. Love that. Great. That's fine. But dude, like, we're wasting incredibly good years of Luis Arraez, of Jake Berger, you know, any productivity from Jazz, any productivity from Bell, you know, and then we were banking on DLC and Jesus Sanchez taking a massive leap forward. Avi Garcia is the worst baseball player wearing a Major League Baseball uniform right now. And I'm not saying that is, you know, hyperbole. Like, I genuinely believe that. You know,
and anybody who says that fans don't have a right to boo,
go fuck yourself.
Avi Garcia can go to hell. They absolutely. That man has destroyed more in this franchise than anybody else. Because if you didn't have him, you'd have JD Martinez right now with that money. You'd have how many other players we could have signed?
Somebody better, 100%.
Yeah. We passed on a lot of players because of his salary. So don't tell me I can't boo him.
And you know what? And I'm usually that anti-boo your players guy because I feel like it doesn't help. But in this case, like, he deserves it.
We're not trying to help him. We're trying to tell him to leave.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just do something. Tell the team to figure something out. And then Joseph Schwartz here, or Schweitzer, from a Marlins fan in Michigan. God bless you. Peter Bendick's area interview sounds worse and worse. I remember Mad Dog interviewed him, and my dude gulped when asked about re-signing Soler this offseason. Soler was a big loss, but I thought that because of the Berger and Bell thing, that would kind of offset it. And like we said, the batting hasn't necessarily been the biggest issue here. And by the way, I hate Mad Dog. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And sorry for you for being a Marlins fan in Michigan. Pendix is there to blow Sherman and save him money.
You're absolutely right.
I think we all figured that Bendix was coming to save money. Like, you don't get somebody from the Rays system in order to build a team spending money. Like, you're looking for somebody that knows how to build a team without having to spend money.
Yeah, and back to like the booing thing, man. Like, I get it. Like, as a player, like, I'm sure it sucks to hear the boos. I'm sure, and especially like even guys in the Marlins, like, you don't want your guy, because at the end of the day, they're sharing a locker room with that guy. Like, they're teammates, there's camaraderie, there's all that shit, and you know, you don't want to see your teammate booed, and that's fine. But as a fan, like, yeah, I have a fucking right to boo when you're making $12 million fucking dollars, dude. You're the second highest paid player on this team outside of Josh Bell, and that's because we inherited that contract. Like, you're making more than Luis Arraez, Sandy Alcantara, Jesus Luzardo, Tanner Scott, Jazz Chisholm. You know, like, you're making more money than all those guys. You better fucking be producing it, like, at least something like those guys, and you're not producing shit.
And after that play where he decided, oh yeah, it's a double steal, and they both got a great jump. Let me just swing at this. After that, Avi Garcia can go to fucking hell.
An even funnier one. He's on third base. He's on third base. Fly ball to Aaron Hicks in right field. A good typical fly ball. I think all three of us could tag up from third on this. He's halfway down the line.
Yeah.
And then he realizes Hicks is going to catch it. He runs back to third to tag up. He's on the back. Aaron Hicks falls to the floor mid-throw, and he does not score. Who the fuck does that, bro? I've coached high school baseball for like 10 fucking years. All right? Of some damn good baseball teams. One rings a whole 9 fucking yards. I have never seen a fucking high school kid do that. And this guy gets paid $12 million fucking dollars? Go fuck yourself, dude. I'm gonna boo the shit out of you. Like,
yeah.
Well, I agree. I'm anti booing your own players, but in this case, I do make exceptions, and I think Avi Garcia is an exception because, I mean, I don't think that there's any hope anyway, and he is the reason that we can't spend on anybody else.
And I went on a rant like when you remember early on last season, people were booing Sandy. And you remember, like, we all kind of went off on that, and like I went off on that because you should never boo your own players. But Avi Garcia is not a Marlin, man.
He isn't.
Avi Garcia is Avi Garcia. That's all he is. That's the team he's on. He's on the Avi Garcia team. He's just coming, trotting around, getting his paycheck, hanging out. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He's not a Marlin.
Like I like booing Sandy's stupid because that's your guy. That's like, you know, it's Sandy. The guy won a fucking Cy Young. Like, he's earned the right to not be booed. Like, Avi Garcia has done nothing to live up to his contract, and we're
like even like Fortes.
Frustrated.
Fortes hasn't done anything, but like I wouldn't boo him because Fortes has served the club for a couple years now.
And not only that, you don't expect anything more from him. Like, it's Fortes. Like, okay, you'll be okay.
He's not the highest paid catcher in Major League Baseball or anything.
You're a platoon catcher. You're you know, you're gonna play the bigs for a couple years, and then one day you won't. And you know, that guy's living our dream. You know, but again, no expectations around Fortes. No expectations about, you know. But when you're getting paid $12 million a year, yeah, we got some expectations, guy. Figure it the fuck out.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, that's why you get paid the big bucks. I don't even know if you guys want to play this game of who do you think the MVP is going to be, because I mean, at this point, we don't even know who's going to be here past the All-Star break. That's where the season predictions were going to go, right? Who's going to MVP? I don't even know what to say right now.
We can play the game. I'll operate as if everyone's going to be here for the entire season. I don't, you know, I don't think half these guys. I don't think the lineup we see here is going to be the lineup we see in August by any stretch. Mm-hmm. But as if you're telling me right now, I'd guess Jake Berger is going to be our MVP.
Okay.
You know, Luzardo will be our own little Cy Young. You know, I think TA's prime for, you know, comeback player of the year for us. Yeah, aside from that, I don't.
Okay. And then who's going to disappoint you the most?
Bendix.
Who's going to disappoint?
The least valuable player. I mean, I guess Avi Garcia. Let's put him aside.
The thing is, there's no expectation anymore. Yeah. So it's like I just expect you to be disappointing. But of guys that I mean, I don't think it's reasonable to think, you know, Arise is going to hit fucking 330 again. Like we're all disappointed about Arise, but his strikeout numbers are only 15% of his at bats. You know, he's putting the ball in play, he's just not getting hits. So I mean, I guess that's a candidate for that. You know, again, I don't have super high expectations. Like again, I said, you know, my prediction, I thought we were going to win 78. That's not going to come with a lot of great performances. Like, you know, there's not a lot of room. I think the entire pitching staff is going to be my disappointment. How's that?
Okay, that's a good one. I like that. I mean, it's proved correct the first 8 games. Brighton, most valuable player, least valuable player. What else we got?
It's comeback player too.
Cy Young and comeback.
Yeah, comeback. I'm gonna operate with who I think is gonna be here the full season.
Okay.
So I think our most valuable player is gonna be Nick Gordon.
Okay.
I think our Cy Young is gonna be Braxton Garrett.
Okay.
Because Luzardo will not be here.
Mm-hmm.
And my comeback player of the year will probably be, I'll go Tim Anderson because I don't know. he may not be somebody that moves easily, but we'll see. Biggest disappointment. So I'm gonna say Eddie Cabrera because, and this is my reason, I think he is going to finally figure out how to not walk people, and we're going to trade him the next day, and I'm going to be very disappointed.
That makes sense.
Okay.
No, but seriously, like my biggest disappointment on the team is probably going to be, I'm going to say Jacob Berry. I think he's going to end up coming up at some point to play third base when we trade Berger.
Okay.
And I'm going to be disappointed that we even drafted him.
And he's not been very good in the minors either, by the way.
No.
He hasn't. And third base is not really a position. I don't even know where he plays. Like, he's just.
You know who I think may end up like surprising us later is like when we trade Bell to deadline and
Troy Johnson.
Troy Johnson comes
Yeah.
up. I think he can be. I think he can be a pleasant surprise. It would be great.
And Griffin Conine.
Yeah, and then we trade him in the off season for
Yeah.
But I appreciate
I could see
lighting up right now. With
I could absolutely see a situation where Griffin Conine is in our starting outfield in August.
Maybe it wouldn't surprise me at this point.
Did you see that laser he had from?
Yeah,
basically the warning track.
Yeah,
right to home plate. Oh man, I got memories of his dad throwing out JT Snow at the plate.
Is that how they're gonna get us back into being engaged when they bring up the young guys after everybody?
Honestly, I'll be more invested that way probably.
I will be too.
Given the scope of things they're trying to do right now, like this is where it's headed. Like no one should be confused. We're headed towards a fire sale, especially if things continue. Yeah, like when they bring up Johnston and Conine and Monteverde and
you got X at second base because you traded a Rise.
Yeah, X.
Are there any
type of thing? Amaya playing? I'm like, yeah, I'll be excited. Like, okay, we'll see what the future looks like.
What are the pieces that we would keep? Yuri, Sandy.
You keep Sandy, you keep Yuri, you keep Garrett, you keep Rogers, you keep Meyer. I think.
So you keep the pitching staff.
Yeah, you keep those guys. I think the
bullpen Cabrera and Luzardo, I think, are both.
I think they're
keep
pretty safe bets to trade.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you keep Jazz. I mean, Jazz is team friendly because he's in another arbitration year, so it's going to depend on how that works out. I think I don't think they'll let Jazz go just because of his contract. Because you're paying.
I think Berger's probably the most valuable player that we have, just because there's so much club control still left on him, and he's being productive.
That's what makes Berger the most valuable trade.
Yeah,
and Luzardo too, because we still have 3 years of Luzardo. So it's so those two guys are going to be the ones I think lighting up the phones are going to be lighting up for. But yeah, like I think you keep those 5 guys I mentioned. I think you probably keep around Jazz, keep around DLC and Sanchez is kind of like stopgaps to the next generation type of thing. I think the whole infield's probably gone. But yeah, I think right now, like the most return is going to come back from Berger, Arise, and Luzardo and Cabrera. And I was talking to some Orioles friends that I've made, and they're like, "What would a package for Luzardo look like?" And just thinking about like the Rays model from the past and what this team is probably trying to do, I think you're looking at like guys in the minors right now that are like close to big league ready or have had like a cup of coffee in the big leagues. So like from an Orioles perspective, you're looking at like Connor Norby, Heston Kjerstad, Kyle Stowers, one of those type of guys.
Take anybody off that AAA team.
They put up 27 runs.
God, they're so good.
The Norfolk Tide would beat the Marlins in a series right now.
100%.
That is so sad to hear.
Yes.
So I'll run through mine real quick. MVP, I was gonna say Jazz. I was actually gonna give a bold prediction that he would hit for the cycle at some point this year.
That'd be nice.
That'd be so cool.
I still think he can do it. I just don't know if he's gonna have enough time to do it. So MVP, him. Least valuable or most disappointing, I was gonna go Tanner Scott. I don't believe in Tanner Scott. I think he's gonna disappoint. He's gonna lose his closing spot eventually. Cy Young. To who? To somebody. I don't know. Who had AJ Puk?
There's a guy who hasn't pitched in the major leagues in like 7 years. He's a closer. We all don't know him because he only threw 1 game. That's going to be our closer at the end of the year.
I'll take Bartolo Colon. I'm sure he could get 3 outs.
Oh, Cueto's still available, by the way. That's the guy you call.
Get Cueto back. Comeback player. I was gonna say Jazz also, because if he's the team MVP, he'd technically be comeback player also.
That's a good call out.
And then Cy Young, I was gonna go Garrett. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's all gone downhill, and I don't believe in any of that anymore because I see no optimism anywhere in the future. With that being said, we do have games coming up because we're only 8 games into the year. We do now.
Do we have
tomorrow.
to?
Yeah, it's odd that tomorrow is an off day. It's literally the only off day on a Friday all year long. So I'm not sure why they have this random Friday off, but it's the only Friday off all season long. So they go back and play their next 2 games against St. Louis on Saturday and Sunday. Then they got 3 in New York against the Yankees. So that's 5 games coming up. So I'm going to ask you what you think the record will be for those 5 games, and what is the only way you have optimism coming out of those 5 games where you're like, okay, maybe there's a chance. I mean, I know 5-0 would be one, but that's not happening. So, Bratton, how do you think the next 5 games go?
I think we can take 1 out of the 2 remaining with the Cardinals, and I think we got swept by the Yankees. Yeah.
Well, 1-4.
My way to feel, 1-4. Okay. The only way I feel optimistic coming out of these series is if we announce a trade and get some prospects back. That's about it. Other than that, I'm just here.
Callie, what are we thinking?
I like I said in the beginning of the show, I think we win tomorrow.
Saturday.
Huh?
Saturday.
We have an off day tomorrow.
We have an off day tomorrow, and then we play St. Louis again.
Saturday and Sunday. So I was just saying, this is the only Friday off all year.
It's so weird.
That's weird. But anyway, I think we take 1 against the Cards. I don't know. Maybe we win 1 in New York. Why not? I mean, we can't go. I mean, I can't imagine that we go into the Braves series, 1 in whatever would be 1 in
12.
12. Yeah, I can't imagine that. That would be just heartbreaking. So, yeah, and like Joseph just said in the chat, I think the day off is due, man. I think they need that. So,
I think that they beat the Cardinals these 2 games, and they get 1 from the Yankees. I think they go 3-2 over the next 5, and we'll go into next episode 3-10. Not looking great, but
we come back 3-10, Danny. Me and Spaz are gonna be like, we're back.
I mean, I think there's a chance. I don't think the Cardinals are hot shit. We're gonna have that day off that we need. Come on, get 2 in a row, and then just steal 1 in New York somehow, some way. I mean, the Yankees aren't necessarily unbeatable. I mean, even though they've looked that way, but you can get 1. So I'm gonna go 3-2, and we'll see where we're at. Hopefully 3-10 next week. Maybe better. Who knows? All right. Any final words, Bratton?
Of my week of disappointment, I did come to a little comparison that I want to leave everybody with. Do we think that we will look back on the Bendick-Sherman era and say, man, I miss Loria and he who shall not be named?
No. I think we'll see a more parallel than this one or that one.
What about PJ right here? Maybe they can bring Miguel Rojas back to bring team unity back in that locker room.
You know what? Bring back Miggy. I think I figured it out. We bring back Miggy. We just put him and Jazz in the locker room, and when they get like those MMA gloves, and just let them fucking duke it out.
Yeah,
just let them get it all out.
We're gonna bring him back just for that.
Just for that, just a little fucking cage match right in the locker room. They're gonna walk out of there, and they're gonna be fucking the best of friends. Let's
not in the locker room. Listen, we got to bring fans to the ballpark, so it should be like a Sunday afternoon cage match in center field. Yeah,
let's do it.
That's
seventh inning stretch. They just fucking come in and just start fucking. You have like the bookies running around like in fucking like.
I'd pay to watch that.
Yeah.
Here's the other caveat. They both have to start the game and they have to finish it. So even if they're like fucking bleeding, like an eye hanging out, they have
You
to
have to
finish
fucking
it.
put Miggy fucking Weekend at Bernie's in a fucking chair at shortstop.
Look,
Damn.
I told you I wasn't a fan of the Jazz interview, and I know it doesn't make any difference as to how the season started, but to me, it makes it just even worse. Like, it frustrates me even worse that interview happened when I see the way we started. But, whatever. All right, Connie, any final words?
Ray Ramos in the chat just said, I'd rather have Dave Sampson and guy won a World Series. They won a World Series with someone else's team. They won a World Series with John Henry's team. Let's make no mistake about that, first and foremost. He also traded Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis for Mike Rebello,
Andrew Miller,
Miller, Baden Hop, and some other fucking douchebag that we can't name.
I liked Hopper. I hate that he was part of that trade, but I liked Hopper.
Yeah. Final thoughts about the Marlins?
Cameron
I don't really
Maybin.
have any thoughts. I went to Camden Yards last weekend, and that ballpark is really fucking cool. Lives up to the hype. Had a couple local beers while I was there. My wife came with me to the game. So we stayed at a hotel like 2 or 3 blocks away from the stadium, and she's like, "Oh, you go. Like, I'm gonna chill here in the hotel." So she showed up at like the 3rd inning, and my wife straight up said that was the most fun she's had at a baseball game. And she barely paid attention to the field. She kept on asking me like, "Who's that? What's happening?" and all that stuff. And but the atmosphere, the fans, and everything. It was Camden Yards lived up to the fucking hype 100%. And it was a fucking rainy, cold day against the Angels. So watching Mike Trout take BP was super fucking cool. Like, that was impressive. But those are my final thoughts, just of a team, of a city I'm moving to. So,
what are we trading you to what are we getting back from the Orioles in this trade? We getting Holiday?
There's not enough of me to get Holiday. I do think the Orioles are probably a prime candidate to trade with, though. I'm saying this without any biases. Like, they have the deepest farm system in baseball, and I don't
100%.
think there's some bats there that I think can come and start for the Marlins tomorrow, like right now. There's a couple arms there, like Povich, McDermott. Like, those guys can come and pitch for the Marlins and probably be better than most of our guys right now. So, I think they would actually be a great, and not just for the Marlins, probably for anybody, but they are, but knowing that we're going to trade Luzardo and Arias in a package to like the Padres, who have zero farm system because they traded all of it for Cease. For a bunch of guys that don't ever play in the bigs for us anyway. So,
well, to the point that you said Camden Yards being a real ballpark, that's how I kind of felt being there on opening day for the Marlins. Now, one thing that I think sucks, because they've done a lot of promo and pushed people to go to the ballpark this year, and they brought that live band. Like, they have a literal band playing. And the one critique I have of that band, it was cool to see something new, but I was in the outfield section 29, which is literally in front of the band. The band plays as the walkout music goes on. It's ADD at it to your max, because you hear 2 different songs going on at the same time. And then they also play around just random music that they're playing in the stadium. They got to figure this out. It's really unorganized. So it really feels really unorganized, because like, either have the band play or have the music playing in the stadium. But when you got both going on at the same time, it didn't really make much sense. But,
listen, we said that we were gonna start like an Inter Miami style band to bring to the Marlins games. So maybe with our $1 tickets, we could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
PJ's
The
point,
battered fans band.
If PJ asked if we'll get Jackson Merrill, like, if we can somehow get Jackson Merrill, that would be fucking incredible, because I think he's a fucking stud, but they won't give him up.
I will take everything back I said about Bendix.
Yeah, if Bendix can pull off like a Jackson Merrill or an Ethan Salas or something like that, I will build a statue of him myself outside of Lone Depot Park. Like, because we don't have anybody on this team that's better than him right now, I think. But
nope.
It's sad, the state of the Marlins, honestly. All right. I mean, that's it. Final words. We're depressed. I thought that this season would go at least a couple months before we got to this point, but literally took us a week. And hopefully we can get a couple wins over the next couple of days so that maybe make a little brighter episode and see what Spaz has to say next week. But that's it for today. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And if you joined us in the chat, we appreciate you guys joining in with us and spending the last 55, 56 minutes with us. And that's it. Depressing season preview / first week review. It was just not what I expected. But all good. We had fun anyway. And until the next one, have a good one.
Peace.